WikiLeaks announced through its X account that Julian Assange is free on bail. Delegates of the government of Colombia and groups of dissidents of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia begin a new round of peace talks. And in Brazil, a state of emergency has been declared following forest fires in Mato Grosso do Sul state. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Through its X account, WikiLeaks announces that Julian Assange is free on bail. The post states that Assange is free and that he left Belmarsh maximum security prison on the morning of June 24th after having spent 1,901 days there. He was granted bail by the High Court in London and was released at the Stansted airport during the afternoon, where he boarded a plane and departed the United Kingdom. For more than 5 years in a 2 by 3 meter cell, isolated 23 hours a day, he would join with his wife, Sarah Assange, and their children. WikiLeaks published groundbreaking stories about government corruption and human rights abuses, holding the powerful accountable for their actions. As editor-in-chief, Assange paid severely for these principles and for the people's right to know. Finally, the WikiLeaks statement indicates that as Assange returns to Australia, they thank all those who stood by him, fought for him, and remain fully engaged in the fight for his freedom. More information will be provided. The reactions to the release of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange have not been long in coming. In Latin America, the president of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, published on his X account that he celebrates the release of Julian Assange and that the Statue of Liberty was not left as an empty symbol. It is alive and happy like millions in the world. The President-elect of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, also announced through her X account that on September 14, 2022, as head of government, she handed over the keys of the city to Assange through his family, and that today they celebrate his freedom, highlighting that for them, Assange represents truth and freedom of expression. For his party, Executive Secretary of ALBA-TCP, Jorge Arriaza, indicated that this is an extraordinary news, adding that Assange should never have been persecuted, even less in prison. He added that, as Commander Hugo Chavez used to say, with the truth, one neither offends nor fear. And in a publication on the social media, ex-president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, congratulated Julian Assange on his release, describing it as a triumph of freedom and of the struggle of humanity for the respect of human rights. From Cuba, President Miguel Díaz-Canel on X expressed that the long and cruel punishment imposed on Assange for his denunciation of imperial crimes will remain in the memory of the peoples. Other reactions from Latin American governments and personality came from the plurinational state of Bolivia. The President Luis Arce welcomes the release of Assange after fierce and unacceptable persecution, violation of his asylum, and imprisonment. Former President Evo Morales indicated that Assange exposed before the world the crimes of the United States and helped to unveil and dismantle the lies that justify wars and invasion. From Colombia, President Gustavo Petro expressed congratulations to Assange on his freedom and invited him and his wife Stella to visit Colombia. The Puebla group also expressed in X that Julian Assange's freedom is everyone's freedom. In other news, in Venezuela, delegates of the government of Colombia and the Second Marquetalia, one of the largest groups of dissidents of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, began a new round of peace talks. In this context, both delegations met in order to promote changes and democratic reforms focused on the peace of the people and the territories, and to begin debates around the members of the group and the overall peace policy promoted by the Colombian government. In this regard, as part of President Gustavo Petro's policy, his administration is engaged in dialogues with the National Liberation Army and the self-proclaimed Central Majority of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia.
Venezuela, as host of this first round of negotiations, takes this opportunity to reiterate its commitment to continue working vigorously for the reconciliation of our beloved Colombia and to make our Latin America and the Caribbean a territory of peace, union, and prosperity. Caracas, June 24, 2024.
The chief of the Colombian government delegation, Armando Novoa, said that the conflicts with the armed groups worsened due to the improper implementation of peace agreements by previous governments.
Ninguno de esos conflictos.
None of these conflicts arose from the installation of current President Pedro's government, but were inherited from the precarious and regrettable circumstances in which the country was left, among other reasons due to an improper implementation of the 2016 peace agreement.
For his part, the former member for FARC, Ivan Marquez, affirmed that the dissident group Second Marquetalia has all the disposition to contribute to the achievement of peace in Colombia.
Today we want to state that the Second Marquetalia Bolivarian Army under my command and its collective leadership has all the disposition to contribute to the common achievement of peace for Colombia, which we inscribe within the more general purposes of political, economic, social, cultural, and environmental change demanded by the historical moment our country is going through.
President of Venezuela Nicolás Maduro denounced on Monday new destabilizing plans of the far right against the national electric system. The president explained that the first thing is to harm the communities where Chavismo wins with 80%, which is the same 90% of the votes, in order to disturb the people. He expressed his confidence on the strength of resistance on the conscience of the Venezuelan people, and yet his obligation to denounce it. The Venezuelan executive alerted the Bolivarian National Armed Forces and ordered a special 24-hour patrol and surveillance plan for all vital and popular electric service facilities as of this moment. Monday, the Vice President of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, condemned that sectors of the far right are seeking the intervention of the U.S. as a way to recover the national economy. During the shakeup of the 1 × 10 × 7 machinery ahead of the presidential elections of July 28th, Cabello assured that Venezuela's internal issues must be solved only by the Venezuelan people. At the same time, Cabello warned that the extreme far right only pretends to control the country for its own interests and not for the benefit of the people. Likewise, Vice President of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela assured that the national government has the best electoral structure to guarantee a revolutionary victory on July 28th. Let's now take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Full stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Palestine, an Israeli bombing killed 10 civilians in central Gaza, including 3 minors, and others were wounded. The Palestinian news agency Wafa reported the neighborhoods of Sheikh Itlin in the southwest of the city of Gaza and the city of Beit Lahaya in the north of the Gaza Strip were also the target of a series of attacks by occupation aircraft. 2 civilians were also killed and others injured in an Israeli airstrike on the southern strip town of Rafah. Israeli tanks infiltrated into the south of the city of Rafah in the middle of gunfire, and artillery shelling caused the burning of several houses located in the west of the city. Since October 7, 2023, the Israeli offensive in the Gaza Strip has resulted in more than 37,000 deaths and more than 86,000 injuries, mostly children and women. The number of Palestinians killed in Gaza by the Israeli army rose to more than 37,600. The Palestinian Ministry of Health stated that in the last 24 hours, 28 people were killed and 66 Gazans were wounded. The death toll could be higher, as an estimated 10,000 bodies might remain under the rubble, with ambulances and rescue teams unable to reach them. In addition, in one of the Israeli attacks in the north of Rafah, the director of the ambulance service and the emergency department of the Ministry of Health in the Gaza Strip was killed after shelling the Al-Daraj clinic. On Monday, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov called the shelling of Sebastopol and Dagestan barbaric and accused Washington of killing Russian children. In this context, the Russian government stressed that the involvement of the U.S. in the attack on areas in southeastern Crimea where Russian civilians were killed would not go unpunished. For his part, Peskov assured that the measures to be taken would be known in time, but the Russian Foreign Ministry announced that it had summoned Lynn Tracy, the U.S. ambassador in Moscow, to inform her of retaliatory measures. In this regard, the Kremlin spokesman also pointed out that Washington bears the same responsibility as the Kiev regime for this atrocity. In this context, Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega expressed Monday his government's support and condolences to Vladimir Putin and the Russian people for the attacks suffered by the Slavic nation during the weekend. In an official letter sent to the Russian head of state, Ortega rejected what he described as a criminal terrorist attacks on different areas of the Russian Federation. In another part of his letter, the Central American president expressed his support and condolences to the Russian people and to all brothers who continue to be victims of what he called a fascist insanity. In Brazil, the government will send 7 planes to fight the fires that took place in the region of the Pantanal. The country's high command also declared the emergency state for the cities of the state of Mato Grosso do Sul that were affected by the fires, result of the climate change and the low rainfall that left 576,000 hectares burned. The decree issued by Governor Eduardo Riedel declaring this emergency situation also pays special attention to the impacts of the fire on agriculture in the Pantanal, which represents both economic and environmental losses for Brazil in close relation to vegetation, ground, wildlife, tangible property, and safety of human lives. And through a statement, authorities of Brazil warned about the possibility of new floods in the southern territories. According to the authorities, the alert was decreed taking into account that the waters of the Guaíba River have risen in the last 24 hours. One of the main cities on alert is the city of Porto Alegre in the state of Rio Grande do Sul, which has not yet recovered from the rains that affected the region in April and May and left 117 people dead and 37 missing. In China, authorities raised the red alert level due to heavy rainfall expected in different regions of the country. China's National Meteorological Center on Monday renewed a weather alert for expected rainfall between Monday and Tuesday. Blizzards are expected to hit parts of regions south of the Yangtze River, the Yang'an Plain, and regions along the Yangtze and Huai rivers. The weather agency advised local governments to take appropriate measures and check drainage systems in cities, farmland, and ponds. We have a fast break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly, share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Fast break, don't go away. Welcome back. On Monday, the White House released a statement announcing that Kenya will become a major U.S. ally outside NATO. The statement said President Joe Biden made a decision using the authority granted to him by the Constitution and U.S. law. The move comes as more African countries are redefining their relationships with the West. On Monday, the Pentagon is seeking new countries in Africa to host military contingents and expand cooperation after the forced withdrawal of its troops from Niger and Chad. The agency reported that some African nations have expressed frustration with the U.S. for enforcing issues such as democracy and human rights, which many see as hypocritical, given Washington's close ties to autocratic leaders in other regions. Also on Monday, human rights organizations in Spain organized a day of commemoration in the Plaza de la Constitución in Ceuta to mark the second anniversary of the Melilla massacre. In this sense, organizers of the Day of Remembrance assured that they seek to appeal to the conscience of those who make the laws in order to make possible a policy more respectful with the dignity of the people. In this way, mobilizations were also organized in the Plaza Menéndez Pelayo, located in Madrid, to denounce that the truth of the tragedy of Melilla continues to be hidden. Likewise, demonstrators assured that the public prosecutor's offices of Morocco and Spain shoved the investigations into the tragedy in which at least 23 people were killed. The events took place on the night between June 23rd and June 24th, 2022, when over 2,000 migrants coming from Sudan, South Sudan and Chad tried to cross the border fence between Morocco and Spain. Police forces of Nador and Melilla responded with tear gas and rubber bullets, killing, according to official records, around 23 people and leaving at least 76 others missing. On Sunday evening, southeastern Brazilians of Ingai town celebrated 92nd edition of the St. John the Baptist Bonfire Festival. In 1931, a lightning struck and burned down almost the whole church of Ingai, ushering the festival which centers around the burning of a 38-meter structure. Inhabitants started preparing the event 3 months in advance by harnessing wood from reforestation projects. The festival, who also includes fireworks displays, that was up to 20,000 people in Ingai every year. Participants and contributors to the bonfire shared their views.
Lightning struck the church, so the people made a promise to build a bonfire. They used to build a bonfire at the church door. It was small. It came in an ox cart. The firewood came from the forest. We didn't have any eucalyptus to use.
Our team is approximately 13 people. 3 months ago, we started gathering firewood, bringing it in, and finished making the fire 15 days ago.
This is too much emotion here. The most beautiful thing is being here at the bonfire. It's a beautiful construction. The symbolism is very good too. Religious, it's very good. It's exciting to be here at the bonfire festival.
We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website, telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.